The hardest part about an unexplained tragedy isn't just the loss itself. It's the silence that follows. For weeks, the disappearance and death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells has been shrouded in a heavy, suffocating silence. A young man walks onto a crowded island on a holiday weekend, surrounded by friends, and somehow, he never makes it back home. Was it a tragic, unavoidable accident? Or is it a crime heavily led in secrets? For 17 agonizing days, Nolan's family, his community, and thousands of people watching this case unfold nationwide have been asking one simple question. Why is no one telling us the truth? Tonight, the wall of silence has finally cracked. 3 massive developments have just broken this case wide open. A federal agency that refused to comment has finally put its official role in writing. A critical witness, the one person who holds the key to Nolan's final confirmed moments, has bypassed the rumors and spoken directly to his grieving mother. And finally, authorities have secured digital and audio evidence that hands this investigation exactly what it has been desperately missing: a concrete, minute-by-minute timeline. Tonight, we are tearing down the rumors and looking only at the verified facts. We are looking at 3 broken silences, 1 devastating 90-minute gap, and the search for absolute justice. Before we dive into these massive updates, I need to issue a quick warning. This case involves the tragic death of a teenager, unimaginable grief, and severe threats directed at the people involved. If you need to step away, please do. But if you want to know the truth, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let's get into the facts. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from tonight as we break this down. Before we talk about timelines, grand juries, and the FBI, we have to remember who is at the center of this storm. It is so easy for a case like this to become nothing more than a true crime puzzle. We look at GPS coordinates and police statements, and we forget the human heartbeat underneath it all. Nolan Wells was 18 years old. He was a son, a brother to 5 siblings, and a rising star. Raised by his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, Nolan had just wrapped up his freshman year at Southwest Mississippi Community College. He was a wide receiver, an athlete with his eyes set firmly on the future. The Monday following this fateful July 4th trip, Nolan was scheduled to be back at summer training camp. He had a return date circled on his calendar. He had a locker waiting for him. This trip to Horn Island wasn't supposed to be some wild, unpredictable adventure. It was a standard holiday getaway. It was the same group of friends, the same boat, and the same stretch of water they had visited before. He was supposed to come home, pack his gym bag, and get back to the gridiron. Instead, his parents had to pick out a casket. Keep that in your mind as we dissect what happened next. Let's start with the loudest silence that just broke: the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For weeks, the presence of the FBI in what should technically be a local county investigation has been the biggest question mark hanging over this case. Whispers and unconfirmed reports hinted that federal agents were lurking in the background. For a family living in a nightmare, this lack of transparency was pure torture. Every unanswered question is a ghost that haunts you late at night. Christine and Elmore weren't just grieving. They were forced to wonder why the highest law enforcement agency in the country was involved, yet no one was giving them a straight answer. That just changed. The FBI's Jackson field office has officially released a comprehensive statement detailing exactly why they are here. And the truth is both clarifying and deeply disturbing. First, the FBI made one thing abundantly clear: they are not leading the investigation into how Nolan died. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office retains full jurisdiction over the death investigation. The FBI is strictly providing resources, advanced technical tools, and manpower. So, why are they really there? Threats. The FBI has confirmed that they are actively investigating a series of severe, interstate threats directed at individuals connected to this case. Because these threats cross state lines and utilize digital platforms, they have triggered federal jurisdiction. Let that sink in. Jackson County Chancery Court Judge Ashley Cole, whose son Warren was on that boat with Nolan, has publicly stated that her family has been bombarded with threats since this case went viral. Prominent civil rights attorney Ben Crump revealed that Nolan's own parents received threatening, malicious mail while they were in the middle of planning their 18-year-old son's funeral. Traken Shepard, another friend present that day, has faced relentless online harassment. Imagine the sheer cruelty of this. A mother and father are sitting in a funeral home, trying to find the words for their child's eulogy, and they are forced to open threatening letters. Grief does not shield you from the darkness of the world. The FBI's involvement highlights a terrifying chilling effect. When witnesses, friends, and family members see a judge and a grieving mother receiving death threats, what do? They stay quiet. They lock their doors. They refuse to cooperate with police out of fear for their own lives. The FBI is stepping in to shut down that intimidation so the local police can actually do their jobs and find out what happened to Nolan. Now, we move to the second major development, a silence broken not by an agency, but by an 18-year-old girl. Her name is Katie. Katie's identity was never a secret to those following the case closely, but her actual voice has been entirely missing. For weeks, Katie's story was being told by everyone except Katie. It was filtered through a family friend. It was defended by her mother on social media trying to combat vicious internet rumors. Her account was twisted, analyzed, and weaponized by strangers online before she even had a chance to speak. Can you imagine being a teenager right out of high school, watching your name become the center of a national true crime sensation? Watching millions of people dissect your life while you sit in silence? That silence ended this week. Katie bypassed the media, bypassed the internet sleuths, and sat down face-to-face with the one person who deserved to hear her story, Nolan's mother, Christine Wansley. According to Christine, what Katie told her directly changes the entire complexion of this timeline. Here is the verified account Katie provided. Katie and Nolan spent time together on Horn Island that afternoon. Eventually, they parted ways. Katie left to board a separate boat with her own group of friends. Before they separated, Nolan told Katie that his plan was to head back to his friends and leave the island with them. Here is the crucial detail that changes everything. Katie never actually saw Nolan get on that boat. For weeks, the rumor mill suggested that Katie watched him board the vessel. She did not. She only heard his intention to do so. She walked away believing he was going home, having no reason to doubt his words. This is not a case of a witness changing her story. This is a case of clarifying a devastating assumption. Katie's truthful admission creates a terrifying blank space in the timeline. It means that from the moment Nolan and Katie separated, no one can definitively prove where he walked, who he spoke to, or what happened next. This direct conversation also highlights a massive tension in the case. While Katie has sat down with the family, another key figure, Traken Shepard, has not had the same reception. Shepard went on national television claiming he was the one yelling in a viral video, not Nolan, and that Nolan explicitly chose to stay behind on the island to talk to a girl. However, Nolan's parents have publicly stated they do not know Shepard and have never seen him at their house. This doesn't automatically mean Shepard is lying, but it creates a heartbreaking reality for a grieving mother. She has to sift through competing stories from young people she cannot personally vouch for, trying to find the one thread of truth that leads to her son. This brings us to the third and perhaps most vital development, the hard, indisputable data. Human memory is flawed. It changes under stress, trauma, and time. But GPS coordinates and dispatch audio do not lie. Following a high-stakes meeting between Nolan's parents, the district attorney, and their legal team, including Ben Crump, a massive forensic step was announced. Nolan's cell phone, which miraculously survived, is going to undergo a joint, simultaneous forensic inspection. Law enforcement and the family's private tech experts will extract the data at the exact same time. Why is this so important? because Christine Wansley noticed that specific Snapchat messages from July 4th are mysteriously missing from Nolan's account. An 18-year-old on a holiday weekend leaves a massive digital footprint. To find a blank space on his phone where memories should be is chilling. Cyber experts suggest that even if data was manually deleted from the device, server-side records from the carrier might still hold the truth. We are about to find out exactly who Nolan was messaging in his final hours. But while we wait for the phone data, we finally have the GPS and audio timeline obtained by national news outlets from the Department of Marine Resources. Here is the undisputed timeline of July 4th. At 9:56 a.m., the boat carrying Nolan and his friends leaves the mainland dock. A perfectly normal start to a holiday. At 11:14 a.m., the boat arrives at Horn Island. At 3 p.m., we have the last verified, confirmed sighting of Nolan Wells alive on the island. At 4:30 p.m., a frantic distress call is made to a maritime towing company. We have heard the audio. A caller reports the boat's bilge pump has failed. The vessel is taking on water, and they need a tow. The caller explicitly declines Coast Guard assistance. At 4:31 p.m., GPS data confirms the boat leaves Horn Island, under tow, heading back to the mainland. This data proves that Judge Ashley Cole's earlier statement was accurate. The boat did suffer a real, documented mechanical failure. You don't fake a distress call and a professional tow hours before anyone even knows a teenager is missing. But look closely at those timestamps. Look at the gap. 3 p.m. to 4:31 p.m. Exactly 1 hour and 30 minutes. 90 minutes. That 90-minute window is where the answers to this entire case are buried. The data confirms the boat broke down. It confirms the boat left at 4:31 p.m. It confirms it arrived on the mainland an hour later. What it does not confirm is why Nolan Wells was not on that boat when it pulled away from the shore. What happened between 3 p.m. and 4:31 p.m. on a beach packed with hundreds of holidaygoers? How does an athletic, 18-year-old football player vanish in broad daylight, surrounded by crowds, in the span of an hour and a half? As investigators try to close that 90-minute gap, Nolan's family is fighting a secondary war against the darkest sides of the internet. When a case gains national attention, vultures circle. Recently, a photo of a pool party circulated online. People claimed it was taken after July 4th, pushing a wild conspiracy that Nolan was still alive. It took barely any time for digital forensics to pull the metadata and prove the photo was taken on June 27th, a full week before the trip to Horn Island. But it gets worse. Christine Wansley has been forced to issue public warnings about AI-generated videos. Scammers have taken real photos of Nolan and his mother, cloned Christine's voice using artificial intelligence, and created fake videos claiming the funeral was cancelled to drive traffic to fraudulent fundraising campaigns. Take a second to process that level of depravity. A mother, whose son was pulled from the water just days ago, has to spend her time begging the public not to donate to scammers wearing her digital face. In the absence of official facts, the internet has filled the void with fabricated cruelty. It is a stark reminder that until we have verified information, sharing unconfirmed rumors doesn't help solve the case. It only tortures the family. So, where does the investigation into the death of Nolan Wells actually stand tonight? It stands on the edge of a grand jury. The district attorney has confirmed that once the sheriff's office completes their investigation, every piece of evidence, every text message, every GPS ping, and every witness statement will be handed over to a citizen grand jury. They will review the facts and decide if criminal charges are warranted. But remember, a grand jury referral is a procedural step, not a guarantee of an indictment. And hovering above all of this is the medical evidence. The state autopsy is still pending toxicology results. A second, independent autopsy, partially funded by civil rights activist Colin Kaepernick, is also pending. Police have preliminarily stated there are no signs of drugs or alcohol, but until the final medical examiner's report is signed, stamped, and released to the public, We do not officially know the cause or manner of Nolan's death. Every timeline, every theory, every 90-minute gap rests entirely on what those medical reports will eventually reveal. Somewhere right now, a mother is staring at a timeline, looking at a 90-minute gap, trying to figure out how her boy slipped through it. Somewhere, an 18-year-old girl is carrying the weight of being the last person to speak to him. Somewhere, federal agents are hunting down cowards sending death threats from behind keyboards. This is no longer just a story about a boat trip gone wrong. It is a story about the agonizing wait for the truth. It is about a community demanding transparency and a family fighting for the dignity of their son. The silences are finally starting to break. And when the final truth comes out, whether it's found in a deleted Snapchat message, a forensic toxicology report, or the testimony of a witness who finally decides to tell everything they know, we will be right here to bring it to you. We are not letting this case go cold. If you want to support this family's fight for answers, share this video, keep Nolan's name in the algorithm, and subscribe so you don't miss the next major update. Let me know your thoughts on the 90-minute gap in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe and keep searching for the truth.